Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today is part 18 of how to create an endless runner using Unity and C#. Today we're going to be going over advertisements, so we're going to be implementing Unity ads and getting them working in a few different ways. So just to get started, we're going to have to come into Unity and go up to Window and just come down to Asset Store. Just let it load. And then in here, we're just going to want to search for Unity Ads, which is a free package provided by Unity. So I already have it downloaded. If you don't, you'll have to click download and it will download really quickly. Then you can just hit import. You just need to enter in your login information. Hopefully I can remember my password. Nope. Yeah, cool. So now we can go import. And we want to import everything, so you can just hit all, load. Everything will already be clicked as a default. And it'll all be into two different folders, so you don't need to worry about it messing up all of our files. So we'll just hit import. And now if we look down in our assets, we have Unity ads inside our game. We have it for Android and iOS because they're the two platforms that it's supported with. And if we come down to standard assets, we have our Unity ads. So now that we have that, that's all we need to do as far as for our adding assets. But we still need to come into our browser and come to unityads.com, just unity3d.com/services/ads. Excuse me one second, some water. And then if you don't have a Unity account already, you just want to create one. Otherwise, you just want to sign in. And then you'll be brought to this screen. I already have the project up here, but it doesn't have many downloads, so it hasn't really made any money. So there's nothing here. But if you have no games, I'm pretty sure there will just be a button here prompting you to add your game. So if I was to come down to games, you'll see I have one game here, and it's got its ID, and it's on Android. We're just going to add a new game. It's going to be for Android. We don't have a URL, obviously, because our game isn't actually live yet. As it says here, if your game isn't live, no worries, you can just click here. That's for games that aren't yet published. We will probably publish this game in the last video and actually make it so it's downloadable on the app market. But for now, we're going to set it up as an unpublished game. So I'm just going to call it how to create an endless, how to create an endless runner. You can have any name here. Obviously, it'd be better if it was your name that you're going to use in the end. But this name here is only for you to see, and so you know what game they're talking about when they give you all the numbers. So this can really be anything. So we'll just go add game. Then down here, we need to verify. So this game is not directed for children under the age of 13. We have blood. I don't think Android is too fussy about that, but we're just going to say this game is not directed. And now we have our game. And if we look here, we have a game ID. That's going to be important later, and that's basically the only thing we need from here at the moment. So now that we have that, we can come back into our Unity, and we'll come in here a bit later and I'll show you a bit of the things that you can do. But we'll come back into here, get rid of that, and now we can start some scripting. Because now we have Unity ads downloaded and imported into our Unity, and we have it in here. And we also have an account with Unity ads on their site. So now we can come down to our scripts and just create a new script, a new C# script, and we're just going to call this one our ad manager. Because we're going to use this basically to trigger ads from different places in the game. We'll have any object talk to that and then trigger an ad. So now that we have that, we can just open it up. and we'll get started on the scripting. So seeing this is obviously going to be our ad script, we're going to need to add a using. So just using Unity engine dot advertisements, and that will just give us access to all of the functions for advertisements, because they're not there as a default just because you normally won't really need them. Then we'll just delete the start and the update function because I don't think we're really going to need those, and then we'll get started. So we're going to need a public string, and this is going to be our game ID. Oops. And it's a public string, so it can just be like that. And so, like I said just before, we need this number here, which is our game ID, which is what we're going to be using in our script. So we'll just come in and copy that, and then come back into our Unity, and then we'll just create a new game object to put our script on. Actually, we don't need to create a new game object for this, so we'll just delete that. We'll just put it on our controller. So we come to our ad manager, put it on our controller, and then we'll paste our game ID into there. Don't use my number, you want to create your own. You can use my number if you want, but yeah, you probably don't want to because that just means I'll be making all the money from your game. So you put your number down here, and then we can come back into here. So that's all that we have done here is so far. We just put in a public variable and filled the public variable with our game ID. Cool. So now that we have that, we'll add a void, which is going to be a void awake, which basically just happens at the start of any scene whenever the game wakes up. So we have our void awake, and in here we just want to do advertisement dot initialize, and then we're just going to initialize it with our game ID. So game ID dot true. Oops. Comma true. I mean. My keyboard keeps screwing up. Sorry about that. Cool. So all we've done so far is that we have a string which has our game ID, and then down here we're initializing our advertisements as us. So we're telling it that these ads are being played as us or for us, and that any money should go to this account. And here where we have it set to true, that just means that we have it in test mode, because you don't want to play all these ads when you're testing it, because you could be banned if you are just constantly clicking on ads from the same device and you are the developer or a friend of the developer and you're just constantly like spamming the ads. That's against the rules, so you're not allowed to do that. So just for the testing, we have this set to true, which just means we'll get test ads instead of real ads, and we won't be making any money and we won't be banned. So now that we have our advertisements initialized, we will start with actually playing the ads. So to begin with, we'll just play them in the most simple way. So we'll just add a public void, and we'll just call this play ad. And play ad is just going to do advertisement dot show, just like that. And basically that's just going to show an advertisement. So we'll just save that quickly, wait for it to load, and then we'll create another button to trigger that void with, saying we made this as a public void. It can be triggered like by a button like we did with all of these. So we'll come down to our menu and we'll create a new play button. So we'll just copy that button, rename it to add 1D, come down and change its text to play ad, and then we might just change the size of the button. Oops. And now, as you see, you can't see text. We probably want to make that a bit smaller as well. So we'll just go down to the text and go to best fit, and it will make it fit in there. Oops. Just move it over a little bit. We'll want to move our high score over, so come to high score, move it over this way. Cool. So now we'll come back to our add button, and on our on click we're going to change it from start because we copied the play button, so it's set to start as a default. And instead we want to, instead of using the UI controller script, because this is tied to the controller object, we want to use the ad manager script, and we just want to do play ad. So now if we press play, hit play ad, whoops, accidentally did it before it had fully done it, so we got it as play ad. I just changed play, so obviously that is not what we want. So come back into UI controller, click start, come back to our ad manager, play ad. My bad. Okay, cool. So now play ad, and we get this little blue screen. In a little bit we'll go onto the phone and we'll be able to see the actual test ads, and if you see when I move around here the buttons are still being highlighted. On a mobile phone none of that will happen because the game in the background is actually paused, but in the editor the ads show up a little bit differently, so we'll want to go on a phone in a little bit and have an actual look. But yeah, that's our basic ad. So we hit that and it shows us an ad, and we're just doing that by, we have our game ID, we're initializing our game ID, and then whenever we click on this void with the button, we're just showing an ad. But that isn't really how we're going to want to show the ads in the game. It works, but all that is doing is showing an ad, and there's no reason for them to ever watch the ad. They're not getting anything out of it, and you have no way of telling if they've actually watched the whole ad or not. So obviously that's not perfect. So we're going to have to change that. So now we'll get on to that. Okay, so we have our basic ads, but we want to add a bit more functionality. So we're going to add a case handler, which is basically just going to allow us to see if the game was fully played until the end, if it was skipped, or if the ad failed. And then that way we'll be able to reward them when they fully watch an ad, and not if they skip one, and obviously not if the ad fails. So to begin with, we'll add that, and then we'll add a few extra things. So we're going to need a public void, and we're just going to call this handle show result, and this is going to take in a show result code result. My bad. Okay, so obviously that's not shoe, that was show. We'll give it its brackets, and now we have that void. Cool. So in this void it is going to be a switch, so we just want to add switch result. So it's just going to be switching through these results and giving whichever one is true. Oops, we don't want brackets here. We want to just add a case. And our first case, so show result. All of this is stuff that is built into the advertisements, and I'll run you through a little bit of it once we're done. You don't really need to understand it fully. So case show result 1, and here we just want to add our debug. Actually, we'll do the debugs in a little bit. So we'll just add a break. We did want brackets there, that was my bad, sorry. So we'll just put them in now. And so that's our first case, but we're obviously going to want to have a few more. So after that case, we'll just add case, show result, dot, instead of finish, this one's going to be skipped, and then break, and then again, we have a case, show result, and this one will be failed, and then break. And just need to fix that up. Like I said, my keyboard keeps screwing up. Sorry about that. Might want to just clean up how these are sitting a little bit. Actually, no, that was the proper way. My bad. I'm still getting used to the right formatting for scripts. For so long I just completely ignored it, but now I'm trying to get my formatting a little bit better. We could be doing this a little bit better, but this formatting is pretty good as it is. So we'll just add in some logs just so that we know what's going on. So debug.log. Then before we actually say what's in the log, we'll just put all these here so we can fill them in one at a time. And so obviously this one is add played to stupid keyboard. Is there 2 P's? I don't know. Obviously there is, it's right there. God damn it. Okay, so now we have that. The last one will be the add failed to play. Cool. So that's basically the base of our case statement, and all it's going to do is, depending on what happens with the ad, we are going to get one of these results, and then depending on the result that we get, whichever case we get, it's going to do the stuff under it, and it's going to stop at the break. So if it gets skipped, it's going to go to this case, it's going to do this, and it's going to break, so it's not going to do anything under it. If it finishes, it's going to do this, and then it's going to break, so it's not going to do anything under that. So this is obviously where we're going to want to reward them, but we'll do that a little bit later. So now that we have our case, we still need to actually make it all be triggered and stuff, so we'll get onto that now. So now that we have our void, which is just our callback handler, and all it is doing is that we'll be triggering this whenever we finish an ad, and it will just tell us what happened with the ad. We still need to make it happen, like I just said, so let's do that. So we'll just add a new void, and this void we're just going to call show ad, and it's going to take in a string, and the string is going to be called our zone ID. Oops. Cool. So now that we have this little bit here done, we're just going to add show options. Oops. Then we're just going to call this options, and it's going to be equal to new show options. Oh, excuse me, 1 second. And so basically all this does is it allows us to access the options for playing ads, and we're going to be using it to basically access all of this stuff. So now that we have that, we just want to use what we just created. So options dot result callback, because we're going to be calling back to the result of what happened to the ad, and this is going to be our handle dot show result. Whoops. And so basically all this is doing is we're creating a new options, and then we're using that as a call. We're getting a callback from that, and that callback is our handle show result, which is here. So then what this is doing is it's checking the results of the ad and then telling us what was the outcome. So now that we have all of that, there's only one more thing we need to add into this void, which is just we want to cut this from up here, paste it down here, but instead we also want to add some variables into the its function. So we're just going to add our zone ID, and we're going to add options. Cool. So basically now we have it so that we are triggering all of this whenever we do this. So we're taking in a zone ID, which I'll explain in a second, and we're using our options for our ads. And then we show our ad, and once we've shown our ad, we're calling back to, well, we've called back to our ad, because this all works in a little bit of a weird way. You can look into it if you like. And then basically it just tells us what the result is and allows us to do something depending on the result. We're going to add another function up here, which is going to be another public function because we want to access it from outside of the script. And this one's going to be play rewarded ad. And now in both of these, all we want to do is trigger this little bit of a function down here. So all we need to have in here is, whoops, not how, just show ad, that's complaining at the moment, but it won't in a little bit, so we'll just keep it as it is. The only reason it's complaining at the moment is because it doesn't have anything inside of here, and it's not passing anything into the function. And as you can see, this function wants a zone ID. So if we come back to our browser, if you don't have it still open, come back to Unity Ads and come to the game that we created. And then if we just click on our game, and then we come over to monetization settings, and then go to advanced settings, we can see that down here we have two different zones. And basically these are our non-rewarded zone and our rewarded zone. So a non-rewarded zone ad can be skipped because, sorry, just need some water. They can be skipped because you're not going to be rewarding the player for watching them, but obviously you will be getting a little bit of money whenever those watches, those ad watches stack up, that is. And then with the rewarded ad videos, they can't skip them because they're going to get something in-game at the end of the ad, so you don't want them to skip them. So we have two different zones for these, so we're just going to copy our rewarded zone and go back into our script, and then in our play rewarded ad, we're just going to add, whoops, we only wanted to get this much, and it's as a string, so we just need to put it in quotations. And as you'll see, now it's not complaining about this because it has a string, and the string is rewarded video zone. So it's taking in that as the zone ID, and then when it plays the ad, it's playing an ad from, it's playing an ad from that zone. So we can use this to trigger rewarded ads, and then if we come back over, copy this one, we can then use this to trigger non-rewarded ads, because whenever we do this one, it's going to trigger this function, but it's going to put in the zone ID as just the default zone. So that's a really cool feature of this. And then if you come down here, you can do some blacklisting, so you can say that you don't want different genres and or different stuff like that. It's pretty cool, and it's all free, so and if you're using Unity, you'd be like silly not to use Unity ads because it's so simple to like implement that it's kind of crazy. But yeah, so now that we have all of that, I think that's basically our entire script, I think, for the advertisement at least. So now if we come back into the game, seeing how long this video is going, I think I might split it into 2 different videos, but we'll just show a simple way of triggering this script in this video, and then in the next video we'll go into how you would want to implement the ads from a design point of view, so where you would actually want to be showing the ads to not design to annoy the player and to as well maximize your revenue. But for this one, we're just going to come in and copy this, rename this one. Add one is fine for that, but we'll rename the text to we'll call it watch ad for 10 gold, which this is something we'll get into with the next video, which I'll also upload tonight. So yeah, it'll just be in 2 parts, but I'll upload both of them tonight. And basically, so whenever we do the paid ad, you're going to get 10 gold, and whenever you do the non-paid ad, you're not going to get 10 gold. But yeah, that'll be in the next video. So now that we have this one, we might just change the name of this just to make it a little bit easier for us to remember. So we'll just call it rewarded. And then we'll grab this and just move it over. We'll just cover the high score for now because we'll fix all this up in the next one. And down here, instead of just going to play ad, we want to go to play rewarded ad. And now, if we just go into our script for a second, you'll see that play ad is putting it in at the default zone, play rewarded ad is putting it in as the rewarded video zone. And then if we come back in, come back into Unity, press play, hopefully we save that script. We press that, we have an ad. We press that, we have an ad. Obviously we can't tell if they're skippable or not in the editor, so I'll just quickly do an Android build, and we'll show you that quickly, and then that'll probably be it for this part. And then in the next part, which I guess is going to be part 18, part B, we will go over the rest of the implementation of the ads. But we'll come in, build settings. We are all set up from our last video where we set it up for Android. So all we need to do is go build and run. As you can see, I tested this just before because I've changed the ads a little bit since last time I touched them. But we'll just go, we'll save over this one, and we'll just save, replace, wait for it to build. You want to get your Android device ready. It's doing a thing where it's trying to locate an Android device to try and build to it. I think that's because I had my phone just plugged in before, but we're just going to go to development, build, try again. Cool, now it's going off the APK, I mean not the APK, it's going off the Android SDK that we installed earlier. So now it's actually working. Cool, so now you want to plug in your device. There's our device. Here's where our game is saved. So as you can see, I've already put it on the phone, but we can just put it on there again and replace it. Cool. So now we'll skip over to the Android phone and I'll show you that on the phone. Okay, so I just tested it and I was having a little bit of problem because of the test ads. So we're just going to play some real ads for a second. I don't recommend you really doing this very often or at all, but we can do it for a second just to see. So now we'll just build it again, and then once this is all done, I'll just get back over to the phone.
Okay, so here we are on the phone. I'm just in a file manager app. You'll need one of these if it doesn't come on default by default on your phone. So we're just going to scroll down to the APK that we just put on there. The reason why it's saying replace, even though we gave it a different name as the on the APK, is because in the player settings the game still has the same name, and that's basically the name that it cares about. It doesn't care about the APK name. So let's install this. Try to find my water. Okay, and once it's installed, we can just launch the game. And hopefully both of our buttons will work. Obviously one of them will not be skippable and one will be, seeing one's for rewarded ads and one isn't. Oops, so we hit open. And we'll be presented with our Unity game screen. This screen can be replaced by any screen you want, but only in a professional version of Unity. And I'm pretty sure a professional Unity version at the moment is like $75 a month, or you can pay a certain amount and own a current version for forever, but you don't get updates, I don't think, if you do it that way. But yeah, so here we are in our game, and if we press play ad, we'll get an ad, and as you see it's skippable because that goes to our skippable ad, which is the default zone. So we'll skip this ad. I have the sound off because I don't know if I'll get copyright problems just by showing these ads, I'm not really sure. So now if we go to the non-skippable ad, we'll see we don't have a skip option up here and we have to watch the entire ad. So that's all we had to do, so we won't keep looking at this because that looks like a Clash of Clans ripoff. And we'll go back into Unity.
Well, I hope this has been helpful. We have all of the base for all of our ads in. We have the main actual package put in itself. We have our account set up and our game set up on the Unity Ads website. And we have a pretty good ad manager script that we can call upon in the next video, where we're going to be making it so ads play after you die 3 or 4 times. So on your 4th or 3rd death, you'll get an ad. And we'll also be making it so that if you watch the ad that says watch ad for 10 gold, the non-skippable ad, you'll get 10 gold. So that video should hopefully be up tonight, and I'll see you guys in that part. If you found this video helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, again, just leave a comment down below. And have a good day.